Hello and welcome to the Wednesday check-in powered by the Gokhshtein News Network. I am your host, Landy. Today is July 23rd, 2025. We're looking at the Bitcoin daily price chart here, and we have some pretty important levels to pay attention to both the upside and the downside, bracketing price locally, and some areas of interest to be aware of that could become relevant here pretty soon. Now, we can see Bitcoin's been consolidating within a range. Barring swings, we're seeing closes come in around that, 117 to 120 area. And a lot of people are getting very discouraged up here and a little mixed up. And that makes sense, right? We see a consolidation, some mean reversion where we have price headed down and kind of sideways and down in terms of swing structure back towards the basis as it's rising towards price action. And we're actually getting a much clearer view of what could potentially be the next move for Bitcoin. And now it's about identifying the criteria that needs to be met in order to move to the upside and the downside. So in this case, on the daily, we do have the basis band of the Bollinger Band set, which is a 20 simple moving average, right here within the bottom side of the candle structure and swing structure down here. And that's going to be coming in right around $116,000 right there, right by this most recent low on the daily. Now, of course, we have the lower low swing over here, which was a higher low swing, but now we have a lower high to a lower low. So we are in a swing downtrend, and we have gotten a lower high close and a lower low close to go along with it. But Bitcoin holding the range here is more bullish than bearish when looking at a setup like this until or unless we were to meet the criteria of breaking down below the basis band and specifically dropping and closing below the 115,700 level. Now, I would still say that there is the opportunity for price to swing the structure and close back in, but if we start seeing daily closes below around 115.7, then I would start to look down towards where the lower first is starting to line up with the prior high over here. And this is that 112 high on the daily and weekly. This also was the last higher high weekly closing zone between that 112 and 109 there. And that would be the area that I'd be looking for a retest. One of the nice things that we can observe with price action right now is that we do have the upper second. The upper second is up here. The lower second, in fact, is now above the last major higher low on a swing and a close before breaking out. Of course, you see the 112 test there and a little bit above before breaking out to go on and set the new all-time high there at $123,000. This is a good sign. And that is something that we want to see while we're moving from expansion back into compression and mean reversion back to the basis. Now, staying in the bullish half of the bands is something that we want to see on closes. That does not bar price shooting through on a swing. If we start seeing it close below, of course, and if we haven't already tested down to 112 to 109, that'd be the next big area. And I would say that we should be exercising caution if we start seeing Bitcoin in this area, because if it does drop around 109, that last daily higher low structure before the move up is going to become very, very, very relevant. Now, of course, there is daily areas of interest within this weekly zone here, and that's going to be coming in around the 110,500. We've got the 109.6 to the 110,590, 600, which was just a swing of this high here before consolidating and taking off. Now, for price structure right now, I consider this healthy, a nice healthy consolidation for Bitcoin and a nice little break after a move out of the prior range. And it's not concerning yet for the bulls. What I will say is they probably do want to pick up and start getting back above this 120 level, start testing above 121 here on the most recent lower high swing. That would afford the bulls the opportunity in terms of potential to go up and retest the all-time high at 123. And if we were to see a candle turn green, that upper second, which is right now at 124, 192, would likely be around the 125 area. And that's where above 121, I'm looking between there and the current all-time high at 123. And then anywhere above 123, I'm looking between 123 and 125. Could it swing above? Absolutely. But realistically, we want to see closes above that 125 level. So you can think of it like as a closing level of interest. Above there, then we can start extending targets right up to $128,000. And I know I've shown this a lot, but there are a lot of new people that are following now. And I would like to point out that that is a macro level on and is a confluent level for price action on a macro fib. This is a log fib in this case, and it's going to be on extensions. This is the 1414 up here at $128,000. That lines up right where that upper third is on the daily. So we have seen, the price was here on Monday when I talked about this, and even late last week, right there from a macro fib extension from 69,000 to 15.5. And of course, this is 69,000 plus 41.4% gives us 128. So I would be looking above 125 at around 128 to 130K, possibly more, right? And that possibly more starts to be borne upon closes above that 128 level. Then we can start looking to the weekly upper third area around 138 to 140. Now, of course, there'd be daily areas of interest above there, probably around 135, so on and so forth. But that would be the potential upside. So again, essentially what you want to see is lower term time frame breaks above 121 to start going and testing the high around 123 to 125, and then start pushing above there towards the 128 to 130 level. To the downside, if you're bearish or if you're looking for discounts or if you think price is going to fall, what you really want to see is closes below 115,700 and the basis band to give price the opportunity to start moving back towards that lower first at 112 to 109 initially, and then we come back to it later, right? So, and there would be the possibility for more if it does start pushing deep into this weekly level. And this macro Fibonacci structure, by the way, is confluent with the last closing high on the monthly. The monthly structure to put in the closing high and swing high there to the closing higher low where we had that higher low come in at 74,420.69. Gotta love the meme numbers on spot price here. But you'll notice that $128,000 level is pretty important here. And in fact, that's going to be at a 1414, even from a local fib retracement extension. So in this case, you can see on the weekly that we even get locally here a 1.618 at $138,000. Where did we see that? We saw that on the weekly chart up here by the upper third. So we have a lot of confluences coming in above the 128, but of course conditions need to be met. We need to see daily closes above there that turn into weekly closes. And then we can start looking up to that 128 to 130, possibly even up to 150 if we start closing above there by the 1786 from a more local structural point of view from the last higher high to higher low on a closing basis on the monthly. Of course, we are on new higher highs again. So it is more biased in that direction. Big thing is, though, the last higher low on this weekly here is something that we want to see hold, and we'll monitor. We'll revisit on Friday as well for the recap of price action and what to look for on the weekend. But, we want to see this continue to march up towards that 125, 128, 130, so on and so forth, while maintaining this higher low structure here on the weekly, as this is a new trend, a higher high, higher low, higher high. And we're looking for this to either continue up some more or correct into a higher low. And realistically, you want to see the highs here of this structure hold. We got the swings up here, and then we have the close open at that 109 to 112. And that's going to be it for Bitcoin today. And I do think, maybe we should take a look at Bitcoin dominance real quick here. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance, nice little rebound. Why are we seeing the nice little rebound in Bitcoin dominance? Because it's still ranging. Well, Ethereum put in a daily high and is right in a very important area. Shallow corrections around the upper first are fine. And it's giving the opportunity, if we see the upper first on Ethereum hold here at around 3650, that we could potentially see $39.30 to $4,000 by the daily upper second. But if it does correct further, we have a major level at 3,400, 33 to 3,400, and then down at I would say a swing of the basis would be 3K to this 3,200 number. And that would be an area of interest. Otherwise, it's going back for a retest of 29 to 2,700 down here. Nothing concerning about this. This is a massive move up. Corrections are normal. We could even see some local chop around that makes new highs. I wouldn't be looking for another really big expansive move. Even if it did start trying to recover this area up here, I think we would get a correction before a further expansive move. Could it be days? Could it be a couple weeks? Who knows? Nice, big, beautiful run here for Ethereum. Solana, same kind of deal. Coming back, correct into the upper first inside of a major zone that it needs to reclaim. We nearly got that 109 push. What do we come into? 206. I meant 209. So like 210 is the next big area. If it wanted to go for it again, it's got to get above 202 again to really test 210 and possibly up to 220. That's still on the board for Solana. It did move later than Ethereum. And of course, on the weekly, Solana finally in that trend break structure, coming off of a trend reversal setup, higher low down here. We need to see this closing specifically above 188. I would say 190, give it some room. It's very close, but it's only midweek. So we got to see where Bitcoin decides to go. And I think the rest of the market follows. And then we'll see where Bitcoin is on Friday and kind of get a look on that. And just understand these big moves up for alts are coming on, just an 8.5% dip on Bitcoin dominance. And remember, we had an even bigger dip, although it was shorter in terms of its length. In terms of time, it was only 14 days on the daily, where we saw an 11.3% in November. So, this is an encouraging sign. We're getting more money inflows into crypto in general. And now, we still are waiting to see if this kind of mini alt run can turn into an actual alt season. I think it's going to take some time, and you want it to take time. If we just see everything go vertical in alts, that's going to be kind of a not the best signal. I mean, they're already kind of vertical, but if they're going to continue to go vertical, that's not always the best signal. That usually means that we're going to be in for some very large corrections and possibly a bigger move up in Bitcoin dominance when everything corrects. That remains to be seen, obviously. And I encourage you just to not get too full-blown alt season is here. It's really all about the next big correction for alts. And a lot of that's going to depend on if Bitcoin can hang here or if it corrects further. And then we see how Bitcoin dominance holds up, how those alts hold up. I think they need to put in some healthy structure after they put in some highs here. Even if they do chop around the highs, I think they need a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of a breather. And then we see if they can continue and maybe push things into a full-blown alt season. But I don't think we're there yet. Might be a little premature for some, and I think that the next big correction is going to be where we find out, the veracity of that, whether or not we're going to move into a full alt season or not. And personally speaking, I'd love to see it. Love to see it. Alts, memes, everything running. I want to see it too. So you want to see Bitcoin holding up here. That'd be preferable. Otherwise, correct down to 112, 109 and hold that area is very highly preferable for the bulls. But even better would be breaking out back to the top side after this expansion to a little bit of a compression we got going on here. We're not quite ready yet. Might take a day or two. So maybe Friday we'll have something interesting to talk about in terms of expansion and consolidation or compression. So maybe we see something between now and then, or maybe something will continue to set up, right? Looks good. I'm happy with what I'm seeing in markets. It is bullish. It is not bearish. It's not over, at least not yet. And it's also not quite there yet for alt season. I know that everyone's excited, but it's all about the next bigger correction and consolidation for alts. Look to Bitcoin to be your guide in terms of US dollar pairs, and then check on those Bitcoin pairs. And I will see you on Friday. I want to wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. With all that being said, take care. Landy out. See you Friday.